By the time y'all see this, the background is gonna have fully changed, But the thing is, because I live in this space, I live in this ever attachment to the higher source, that source of infinite intelligence, for real. I have to present this as soon as it hits me, because that's y'all problem. Y'all think that later is better, when in fact, staying present and being in the present is the best way to manifest, because you're already in the power that is the notion that you are being provided from the divine assistant, divine insistence, right? So I say all that to say, I had to get this message out to y'all, special as hell. So as you start to ascend in this life, you're going to have shedding phases. The symbol of the snake has been used in many different contexts for metaphysical, philosophical teachings. I'm not going to fully break it down. There are many demonizing stories about the snake, but if we look, even the Kundalini is not a demonized version, so we know that there are different stories, parables of the snake used for teaching in metaphysics and in philosophy and in higher wisdom, right? So the snake is an evil. We're just going to use it in this context to teach the lesson through shedding, right? Shedding. Every phase of growth for a snake is accompanied by shedding its old skin. If I used to have a pet snake as a kid, and every 2 weeks or so, you would just see like a dry shedding. It's like an old skin, the whole formation. It would just be a wholly other skin. And every time before they shed, their eyes would get a little foggy. Like around the layer of their eyes, it go from black to like looking like gray, like the fog. And that's how you knew they were about to shed. So there are signs and indications of shedding. Now, what is shedding as it pertains to this growth and this evolution that very few are willing to undertake? And most people rather stay in their old self and in that uncomfortable, because as you grow and you stay in that old shell, it's only going to get increasingly more comfortable until you're ready to let go of that former skin, that former shedding. So the people who decide to step into this growth, this evolution, this everlasting expansion, this rising, what you're going to recognize is that you're going to go through phases of emotional shedding, right? You're going to be consistently confronted. Your enthusiasm is going to push, and then you're going to feel this major deflations because of how much you're putting expectations, emotional expectations on particular people changing, right? This is just what it is. It's like when you first start, you're like, wow, all this power, all this amazing joy, all this growth, I'm in love with it. Oh my God, I want to share this with everybody. I want to help change everybody. I want to deliver this wisdom. I want to deliver this growth, this love, this expansion, this power, this energy, this real self-love energy. I found it. I want to give it to other people because it's selfish to share it, to not share it. Exactly, right? That's why everybody goes through it. Then you're out there, you're like, yeah, let's do this, guys. And you realize everybody is really not with the shits. So then people start letting you down, right? Then you go through this almost like an emotional death, right? Which is what I'm relating to the shedding of the skin. You go through this emotional death where you no longer expect it out of certain people. And slowly but surely, you're going to feel less and less guilty for growing on your own. Because one, you must grow on your own, but we can also make a rhyme out of this. You must go on your own. You must grow on your own and go on your own and continue to go on your own, and realize that the law of attraction, as long as you're moving in the alignment of what you need to be and you are being what you're supposed to be, not doing what you want to do, being what you're supposed to be, then you will always be blessed by the universe as not chance or luck. It's just what the fuck alignment does, Most people panic and most people get stressed out, so they run back to their old ways because they have a familiarity with that level, but that level was never satisfying. So then they run back to a dissatisfying reality instead of having true faith in the workings of the universe and understanding that things that come into manifestation on the physical plane take time to gestate. Like I wrote in Believe and Manifest, you must wait for the seed to actually go through all of its development. The seed doesn't just get water planted on it and shoot the fuck up, does it? No, it doesn't. What happens is you plant the seed, you trust the soil, you know that the farming process is real, and you know that in due time you will have a plant, and that plant will reap its fruit, and then you will have its manifestation. Most people get a little hungry, get a little panicky, start living with fear, and then they run back to the bullshit. You know, my thing is, I've consistently had to outgrow my former emotional state as it relates to the outside world, right? So it's consistently shedding emotional connections. They call it karmic etheric threads, etheric cords, different invisible attachments that are bound to different entities, bodies, and things that function in this material world as you continue to grow. So this looks like letting go of the emotional ties that hold you down to friends and family who no longer will understand you because they can only accept you at the level that they can leverage you, right? People tend to only be able to accept you at the level that they can leverage you in their own self-perception game. But when you align yourself with universal conduct and you no longer play into the laws of humanity, perception, social, man, human, and you really operate in alignment with universal principles, you have transcended and entered a realm of immutability, of unerring outcomes. You see what I'm saying? So when you move on universal principles, you're no longer in the realm of leveraging social values and all this other shit. It's just superior conduct, superior byproduct, superior results. You're living in a world of results and not taste, right? People have preferences. Their preferences are cultivated by their conditioning, but that's not necessarily, a preference is not necessarily the best quality, right? We're living on universal standard. We're looking for the best quality outcome universally, objectively. This is just what the fuck it is. You put it in any scenario, any situation across the entire cosmos, and it will prove itself to be consistent. It won't be like, oh, in this culture, we like our plantains cooked for 12 minutes, or in this culture, we like our plantains cooked for 20 minutes. Oh, that culture, their plantains suck. That's all subjective shit, right? So the metaphor of the shedding of the emotional ties to particular people, you will be growing, you will be stretching, and every phase is going to be met with a new shedding. And when you shed, you will feel more free. You will no longer feel responsible for people's stupidity. You will no longer feel guilty for growing. You will no longer feel guilty for people choosing to be losers. You will just continuously, like I said, using the symbol of the snake shedding its skin as it grows, you will consistently be growing in a direction, and every time you get to a new level, there will be a new level of shedding to do where you're no longer emotionally tied or confounded in limiting your energies on any external outcomes. I've had many people that I would love to see grow with me, and it hurt to see that they wouldn't grow with me. At a certain point, we just don't give a fuck if you grow with us or not. You have to exist as the lower individual. The lesser man, this is what I said this morning, the lesser man or woman, the lesser human has to be able to recognize the better human to then be able to become the better human. Most people are so destructively egotistical, right? Distinction, destructively egotistical, that they don't even understand that they're the inferior individual in a given circumstance. So they can't even allow themselves to perceive that there is better to become better. They really think that they're it. I wrote it down today. I said, listen, it's more egotistical to be less and think more of yourself than it is to be more and think less of ourselves. The real ones, we don't even think about ourselves. We're not even in our way. We don't give a fuck. We just growing and passing mad love energy and growing and evolving and becoming more and increasing our life experience. While all these other people are living the most tight, cramped, dwindled, constricted lives. And they swear they're winning, but it's like I would be totally embarrassed and stressed out to be most of what I see in these streets. And most of y'all are embarrassed, and most of y'all are stressed out to be what you are. The embarrassed part, you want to admit it. That's why your ego's in the way. The stressed part, we can see it on everything that you are. It's mad discomfortable to be what you are. So anyway, I want everybody out there who is wise and sensible to understand that don't be afraid to continue to grow. Don't be afraid to grow on your own, to continue to grow. And know that you will be going through multiple shedding phases, because the serpent, the snake, every time it grows, it must shed something of its former skin, right? So that old limitation, that old size, you're going to fill into a new self. And that new self will never be able to fit in that old self, right? So be okay with understanding the different phases of growth as the snake shedding its skin and growing into a bigger self, a bigger capacity. And don't feel any weird way about growing out loud, about winning out loud, winning in their fucking face. Be bigger. You're supposed to be everything you're supposed to be. Stop limiting your existence for your own little selfish fears, insecurities, your own little discomforts and preferences. Fuck all that shit. Get the fuck out your way and start actually living your life, and stop sabotaging your own shit. Once you stop sabotaging your own shit, I'm gonna need you to grow with no guilt at all. Grow guilt-free. They should be fucking feeling guilty for being such low-level renditions of what they're supposed to be, and then making people have to deal with what the fuck they aren't and all that lesser shit that they are, right? Fuck that. Consider the vibrations raised. Y'all see how I'm moving. I'm inviting y'all to live, but y'all cannot consistently run back to your former ways expecting a better life. It's just not going to happen. And as you grow, anticipate the emotional growth as the shedding of former emotional dependencies and cutting off of etheric cords, and no longer having these emotional bonds to things which are no longer serving you and in fact are hindering your growth and expansion. Consider the vibrations raised. I love y'all. Get in on the program. There's so many dummies in this world. Let them be dummies, bro. That's the greatest part about it. Like, we're at this new phase where it's like, I'm not even gonna entertain or argue or go back and forth with none of y'all. Like, if you're stupid enough to not recognize that you're actually stupid, oh God, like, help you. God help you. You know what I'm saying? Sheikhy Chic, your world is yours. Consider the vibrations raised. The better man.